We're kind of kickstarting this year of Xbox, supposedly, whatever the case may be. It looks like it's going to be a pretty big year for Xbox. I think it's interesting because so many people actually believe that Microsoft might release like a new console or something in 2026 to mark the 25th anniversary. And if you maybe look at a broader kind of look, maybe if you had better prepared, that would be perfect, right? Could you imagine a better time to launch a console if you were still doing exclusives, mind you? But let's just say you were launching a new console in 2026 and you have a new Halo, a new Forza, a new Fable, a new Gears of War. Like, yeah, I mean that, and a new IP. Like, let's just say they release, another game as well. Like, that's would have been an incredible foresight. But we're talking about the company that realistically couldn't even get games ready for their 2020 launch, despite knowing that they were going to launch in 2020 years and years in advance. And honestly, it's crazy to think that. And then even worse, in 2022, they released 0 AAA exclusives from their first party. So, I mean, we could sit there and try to blame stuff like the lockdowns or whatever all you want, but the bottom line is other companies were getting out games. Microsoft wasn't. But that's not to say this year won't be a good year in terms of games. Things are finally starting to look in order. We're getting a developer direct. We're getting, supposedly Halo, Gears, Forza, and Fable, and maybe another game as well. But according to this report, it looks like Microsoft might release some hardware, including a next-generation Xbox wireless controller, according to Windows Central, which reports that per sources, the Xbox Elite Controllers 3 will be revealed this year, and other new controllers as well. Quote, "I'm told we should also see some new Xbox hardware this year. I suspect we'll finally see the Xbox Elite Controller Series 3 break cover in 2026, and perhaps even other controller revisions. It's also claimed that the next-gen Xbox controllers will all support direct-to-Wi-Fi connectivity and eliminate Bluetooth latency from cloud gaming scenarios." I guess it's like some kind of issue, but cloud gaming is like super crappy anyway. So I can't imagine. Like I don't understand it, right? Like Microsoft pushes this stuff, and who's really playing it, right? Like there's no evidence that anybody is like substantially playing this stuff, gaming that way, especially Xbox. So, I don't know. To me, that seems kind of, it is what it is, but, doing the Wi-Fi thing, I guess, is okay. The Xbox Elite Controller Series 2 was released in, was released to kind of as a successor as the original Xbox Elite wireless controller. Offered multiple improvements that included interchangeable sticks, shorter hair trigger locks, and more customization options. It was also pricier, costing $179.99. There wasn't really any more details about that at all, but still nice to see that they were able to kind of go out there and, I think it would be cool. We're way past due for new like next gen controllers, if you think about it. I'm like, for me anyway, it's just I'm kind of looking at this and I'm thinking to myself, man, we could really use some next gen controllers, because if you've ever played a Switch or a Switch 2 or a PlayStation 5 with the DualSense, it's like a completely different game. It's like a completely different thing, and it just really feels amazing. And you can't really kind of overstate how good that feels as a fan, to be able to have the like this amazing kind of haptics and stuff like that. It really feels like you're part of the game, which I think is really cool. You need to be able to kind of have that kind of feel when you're getting into like something that's considered next generation or whatever. And it just really feels like Microsoft kind of dropped the ball a bit with that. And I've long said this, right? Like, there's multiple things that Microsoft could have done to change their fortunes a bit. Better plan your launch games for your console. Update the controller, right? I mean, even the 360, which was widely looked at as the greatest controller of all time, they didn't keep that controller. They upgraded it, right? They updated it. And we got the Xbox One controller, which was also really good. And then they just kept that controller. And for some reason, it feels cheaper and plasticier and smells weird and clicks louder. So I don't know. So it's like they didn't upgrade that. Also, the UI was the same exact thing. So you largely don't feel like you're playing anything different than the last generation, and that's a long time to be stuck with that same UI, same controller. You know what I'm saying? Like, part of the reason why people like consoles is you get those updated things. When you went from the PS4 to PS5, there was like this huge difference that you could feel with like the controllers and like all these other different kind of little aspects of gaming. So I think that it's really cool the way that to see that we could get some more hardware this generation, and I think it would be nice to be able to get that. Xbox has been sort of last place in terms of giving people these upgraded features and things like that, and to be quite frank about it, I don't understand it. I think that it's kind of crazy to believe the way that these kind of things happen the way that they do. But again, it's just kind of interesting to me the way that kind of things kind of work out, and that Microsoft has kind of fantastically killed their kind of killed their brand or whatever. But again, there's certain things that can help out. I mean, I think they're going to continue to push like controllers and stuff like that, because it behooves them to do so, because they're trying to get people to play with their controllers on PC. They're trying to get people to play with their controller over a TV or a mobile or whatever the case may be. So that's definitely something that they're kind of going into. But I would love an updated controller, something that's better, something that has haptic feedback. And the thing is when you bring this up like in an open forum like X or something, you actually have people that go, well, I hate haptics. It's the same people that go, well, when you ask, hey, why doesn't Nintendo do achievements? And they go, well, I hate achievements. Well, listen, if you're not into achievements, then you don't have to pay attention to them. For people like me that like achievements, I think that it's one of those things that it would be nice to see, just to have the option. And it's interesting to kind of see that kind of come about the way that it has. But here we are. It baffles me the way that sometimes Microsoft handles some of their own things. You know what I'm saying? It just honestly just kind of, it also kind of ticks me off. But we'll see. Like I said, I hope that they can change it on a dime. Look how many times they've changed just in the last 4, 5, 6 years. They went from, hey, we can spend Sony out of business, to we really need Sony to sell a lot of PlayStation so we can recoup some money on our $100 billion investments, the publishers and games and stuff like that we bought. So yeah, like it is kind of interesting the way that those kind of things happen. But to get new hardware that makes it feel better, makes gaming feel better, I think would be a great step up. And you have to remember, the Xbox Seville was supposed to be a haptic feedback controller that was going to launch with Xbox Brooklyn, which was a cylinder-shaped Xbox Series X. It was going to be discless, and it was going to be kind of cylinder. It was going to have better Wi-Fi and a couple other small enhancements in there, 2 terabytes and that kind of stuff. That ended up getting canceled, and then we got the Xbox Series X, the white one, where it looked like they just spray painted the thing white and pulled out and plastered over the disk drive. So I mean, they really didn't invest much into the hardware this gen. It's kind of a little bit weird that the way that that's kind of happened. But let's hope for the best. Let's hope that things kind of work out. I would love to see Microsoft do something that would just wow people and get people interested on and playing the games and stuff like that, because I think that would be really cool to be able to see fans come back to the brand and things. I don't think it's the end of the end or anything, but I do hope that we see something happen to where Microsoft can kind of do something that gets fans just amped up again, and not just fans, but developers and all that kind of stuff, because it does seem like developers just for a lot of the times don't really care much about Xbox anymore, which is a shame, because that could seemingly get worse in the future, where we're kind of going to go with the next Xbox. And listen, I don't look at, like, people, that still kind of frustrates me when you don't see that Microsoft with their next quote-unquote Xbox is trying to get people into the PC side of things. That way, when they do stop hardware altogether, it's like, well, you still have your games on PC and stuff like that. It's like they don't have to do it anymore. And obviously that's where they're going. They're winding it down. So, I mean, that's clear as day to me. I know some of you guys might not feel that way or whatever, but to me, it does feel like they're kind of winding it down, and it's sort of crazy to kind of think that way. So nice to see that we are still getting some kind of hardware and getting some things happening, but you know, it would be kind of nice if we got some of these announcements sooner rather than later, and hopefully maybe something affordable, because I don't want to pay $250 for a controller. So we'll see how this goes. Anyway, let me know what you guys think. Are you guys excited for the 25th anniversary and seeing some of these things come to fruition? Let me know. Rack 'em up. Crap Gamer out.